going on? Welcome to the Secret Restaurant Podcast. I will be your host. My name is Nate. I'm going to try not to be funny this time. Let's see how that goes. But it's probably unavoidable. It just comes so naturally to me. But yeah, I've been working on some fiction. I had some thoughts I wanted to share about it. Because for me, let me just describe something I've already described a lot. So I have written like a lot of fiction because I was a ghostwriter for a while. I haven't gotten any contracts recently. I haven't really been seeking them out, but I do have experience writing novels for a client, but the novels I was writing are very different than what I would want to publish under my own name, basically. I mean, the things I typically read are not the types of things that I was writing. I do think that experience probably taught me more than I could have learned just by like trying to write my own novels. I'm really thankful for that experience because back before I was trying to write short stories and stuff, I started novels, never finished them. But kind of something happened when I was writing. They were all romance novels, I think. I mean, they were subgenres of romance, so it's like vampire. A lot of them were billionaire romances, which is kind of funny because there aren't that many billionaires. But that's like the genre. It's called billionaire romance, and so it's like a girl meets a billionaire. It probably should be millionaire, honestly. But anyway, me writing those, I had to really kind of lose my ego as far as how to write a story or what I thought was like good craft. Because a lot of the things that before writing that, the types of things I considered good craft usually had to do more with like wit or had to do with like impressing people. And then also just being like creative, which often translated to being weird. And so being forced to kind of write for an audience that reads books that I wouldn't normally read, I guess. I learned a lot about how to write a scene, how to write a character, how to write a story. That wasn't necessarily something that I was like, beforehand I had a different idea of like a novel. And then I had to write all those ones. So I was like, my idea changed. I think ego is the biggest part of that because even when I started ghostwriting, it was really hard to accept that kind of when you're creative or you want to be creative or you've been rewarded for being creative. I think people, a lot of what they hold closest to them is the fact that like I am creative and I need to show people that I'm creative. But then a lot of times that kind of ego in itself ruins things. You don't have to constantly be impressing niche readers all the time. And then in kind of the genre that I was writing in, you almost don't have to do it at all. It's more about like creating a character that a person reading it can either relate to or could see them in the world. And then you just have to create tension kind of. And so once it took me I wrote like 18 novels. And so it took me that long to kind of come to this conclusion. And now that I'm working on my own stuff, it is kind of just coming back a little bit and being like, I can't be creative because this is my book. And like when it's your name on it, it's like they expect you to be you too. I mean, I know a lot of people don't know the authors of the books they read or they don't really pay attention to it. But then other people do. And that's what you create your brand. Unless you're like writing a series. If people pick up a book because it's your name on it, then you have to make it yours and you have to be creative with it. So that's kind of, I'm trying to find like the medium between writing books that are supposed to be popular and don't have anything to do with Nate Hoyle, and then also being Nate Hoyle. This sounds arrogant, but it's like you have to be. You have to be that if you want to be the artist who people want to read, I guess. So this novel I've been working on, I read an excerpt of it already. I don't remember what episode. I'm not going to go over the plot and stuff, but I started it in September. So whatever that is, I guess it's been 8 or 9 months of working on it, but I didn't work on it every day. And the process has been like when I first started out, I started with like a blank page, and well, I brought in a character I had written a long time ago, but as far as the novel goes, I started out with like a blank page. And then like I feel like that first burst of it was just like writing, discovering the plot, discovering the characters, um, and every day it felt like I would be incredibly productive because it was a blank page. I was putting it on the page. I was coming up with it. I was developing the plot. I was like developing the chapters, developing the characters. But now, 8 or 9 months later, um, I feel like I know the whole story. And so I've kind of hit like a slowed part of it where I have to write these scenes that I know the scenes. And so that part has been challenging because it's not as like spontaneous, or it's not as like free writing these scenes that I already know them. I have to make them really good. And I already know the characters. Like when I was first starting out, I could be like, "Oh, who is this? Who is this character? Oh, this is all the things about them. I'm just coming up with it." Now I know the characters and I know what's going to happen to them. Um, but it's not as exciting. Like when you come up with it, you already knew you were going to do it. And so I've kind of hit like maybe recently I've kind of slowed down a lot. Um, and so I wanted to talk about kind of process again because this part I'm going to get through it, but just kind of my process now is kind of changed. So like we as humans, stepping back from fiction, we as humans obviously are constantly thinking, right? And so the thing that I'm trying to work my brain into doing now, especially when I'm writing, it's like obviously I'm going to have thoughts about my life. I'm not going to be constantly thinking about writing a novel. So if I have a thought about myself, I have a thought about like a place. Uh, I can't think of a better word, but like thoughts about society, reflecting about the world, how things are. When you get those thoughts, it's going to be about the world you live in. But then you're like only one step away from putting it into like art. And so for me, I've been thinking a lot about, because I'm back in my hometown, thinking about the way my hometown is, thinking about the people in it. And I've been having a lot of thoughts about it. But then the necessity now is like, now you got to take the step to like be like, where does that fit into your art? And it's easy just to not do that. I think a lot of artists, one of the reasons they start art too is because of like trying to figure things out. I think a lot of artists have kind of an obsessive way of thinking where they can dwell in misery or dwell in the past. So it's almost like for me, I'm trying to work on, people say artist therapy. It's like kind of corny to say that, but it is sort of a way where like you can take these things that maybe are painful, or take these things that are confusing, take these things that you don't really understand, and then if you do put them into art, it's almost like a form of getting it off your chest, I guess. So that's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to, instead of being like, I got to write these scenes, and I know the scenes are going to be good, but I have to write the scenes in a way that is also, the sentences are good, or the way I tell it is good. It's kind of daunting, I guess. And so instead, I've been like, well, if I think about something outside of the story, I'll just put it into the story. And then chances are, since I already know how the arc's going to happen, it will mold around these ideas. Or I just won't use them too. It's just like, you just got to get like things onto a page instead of just being like, oh, they walked down the sidewalk, they saw a bird, like just writing a scene like that. It's better to, I don't know. I guess my point, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but the thing that I'm struggling with, and also I think it's kind of starting to become more clear, is like keeping the spontaneity when you already know what's going to happen. I'm like really afraid of like a lot of I mean, there's great writers, great stories, and then I read a lot of stories, and so sometimes it feels like it's pretty common actually in fiction where like they start really strong And then once you get to like the second and third act of the story, it feels like the writer is just trying to get through it. And I never want to do that. I feel like it kind of, if you're going to work really hard on something, I don't want any parts like that in my story. I don't want any parts where it feels like, oh, this is just a part like to get from A to B or to get to the end of a story. And I definitely haven't achieved it yet. But it's something that I was kind of thinking. And now I had this thought, and now instead I'm recording a podcast instead of using this brain power for scenes. But the things I'm talking about now wouldn't really be in a scene, I guess. It's more just like me talking about myself. Sometimes I do feel like I wasted a lot of time not realizing these things. But maybe I wouldn't have, maybe I couldn't have realized it, or maybe I still wouldn't have been productive even if I did realize it. Maybe it's something we do whether or not we think about it. But yeah, then yeah, in the same topic, like I'm 33 and a half probably. But like because I gotta look at other people's careers a lot, and fiction writers really, especially maybe back in the day, they got published young or like in their 20s. But anymore, it's kind of like it's really rare for someone to be published before 30 for like for a novel. It happens. But most of the writers that are successful now, when I look at their careers, like they publish their first novel 30, 35. But I'm coming up on that, and it does take forever for publishers to release novels. You'll get a novel picked up, and it's like, this will come out in 2029. I do think a lot about the social structures of today curb people from writing novels too, like social media. I mean, I tell this story all the time, but back when I did start ghostwriting, I had deleted my Twitter account permanently. And then like within a month, I was ghostwriting almost full time. I had like I had a part-time job that was very, I think it was only 2 days a week. But so then, yeah, it's like did all that social media, all that streaming services, all that internet stuff. Did that slow the arc down for me? Or if I lived outside of all that, then would I be able to write a modern thing? I know I'm just talking about myself. The reason I'm talking about it is just I'm trying to communicate in a way that might be relatable, I guess. But and then also it takes forever to understand novels, really. Like you can't just read like 2 novels and be like, I understand the novel. It's like you got to read like hundreds of them. Every time you read a new one, you get a new idea of what a novel is. And I'm not an incredibly fast reader. I mean, at the most, I probably read like 15, 20 novels a year. So, and then the whole thing that I avoid talking about is the AI craze. Because I did start ghostwriting before all those like AI things launched. And it's hard to explain it to people. Because I know I'm not going to say everyone uses AI at this point. If you use Google, you use AI. But it's like literally like AI did ruin the workforce for creative people. Like it really did. It cut down available jobs probably more than in half. And people just use it now without thinking about it. And it's almost like more common to use it than not use it. And I'm not going to say that that's a problem, but I do think it's like not a good thing. I do wish it didn't exist. And I wish we could move away from it, but it seems like as far as using computers go, it's here to stay. It's always going to be on computers now. So really the only way to move away from it would be to move away from computers, which I do handwrite. I post, it's just been me flexing, but I posted something and then deleted it. But like I've got evidence of everything I wrote in notebooks, so there's no AI over here. I don't need it. I don't want to use it. I think is boring. So last thing I'm going to say about it is like we are as a society completely fixated on computers. And there's all this like doomsday stuff, like everyone's getting hopeless. It's like how much of your hopelessness about the world comes from a computer, comes from a phone, comes from the internet. It's like the most toxic thing in our society is computers. That's what it is, and we don't need to use them. I mean, people use GPS. That's like the one thing that I would have a hard time. Like if I think about, what if I got rid of my smartphone? First thing I think about is like, well, then I wouldn't have GPS. I know you can get other old school GPS things, but that one is like a pretty big deal. But everything else is like, I don't know. I just think that a lot of our problems, whether emotional, workforce things, like they come from computers. If we quit using them, we wouldn't have AI taking over jobs. Literacy rates are horrible. Critical thinking is horrible right now as a whole. And I feel like, not to get preachy, I can see it though. People don't think about things, they just react to them. And that is no pun intended, but that's a pun. Reacting to things, that's all you do. You like it, you share it. You post an angry comment. It's like in the real world too. People just don't think about them. They just react to things. And on that note, thanks to everyone who has liked and shared Breakfast 3. I'm serious though. Yeah, that's the struggle. It's like you want to be resistant to it, but if you don't do that, you got to get out there and you got to hand people those books in person. That's how it goes. Trying to think if I have anything for Secret Restaurant to comment on, and I don't believe I do. It was a pretty busy month in May, so I think we'll have to recollect ourselves, step back, and observe, and not react. Just sit back patiently, like Rambo in the forest. That's all I got. Thanks for listening. Thanks for checking in on your cellular device as I talk into my cellular device and then upload it on my computer to the app, YouTube, and Spotify. Hopefully the AI gods are not plotting against me after me saying this. I'll talk to you guys later. All right, goodbye.